Okay, I was watching Taboo on National Geographic Explorer, and they were talking about people with physical deformities. And they had a woman on there who was extremely thin. I think they had said she had no body fat whatsoever. Very tiny, you know. I mean, you could basically see all her bones. The reason I bring her up is because two things. One thing, I noticed a change in me, because in the past, I've said in other videos how I hope that I will become a more compassionate person, and I can see that starting to happen. Because in the past, if I had seen this video, honestly, I mean, seen this woman, I don't know that I would have laughed, but I would have looked at her like she was a freak show, you know? I would not have looked at her and said, that's sad that a human being has to suffer like that. I would have just looked at her and been like, yeesh, you know? So I'm glad about that. But the other thing is just what she has to go through because of the kind of world we live in now, where she said she went online and found a picture of herself that someone had just snapped of her while she was on the street, and the caption of it was, under it was, "World's Ugliest Woman." She said it had been viewed about 2 million times, and that there were people on there suggesting to her not only that she killed herself because of how she looks, but suggesting ways she could do it. And I just can't, you know, I'm not the most beautiful person in the world, but I don't have any physical or obvious outward, visibly, that didn't come out right. I don't have any physical malformations or deformations, aside from having a big nose. But nothing that, you know, people in general stare at me or anything like that. And it's one thing for people to look. I mean, it's not polite, but at the same time, I think it is human nature for our eye to be drawn to people that don't look like us, you know? But it's a totally different thing to totally try to destroy another human being. And that's what these people are doing, these bullies, these aggressive, angry, nasty, hateful people. And that's what you are if you do something like that. She seems to have learned to handle it, which I'm sure you have to do, you know? You can't, it's like when I was getting teased in high school and middle school and elementary school for being gay. You just have to learn to deal with it. And obviously not everybody can. Some people learn to deal with it. Some people end up killing themselves because they're not that type of person. And that's another part of this I wanted to bring up. You know, people always say, well, they need to get a thicker skin and they need to learn to just deal with it, that the only person that can affect how they feel is them. And it's very easy for people to say who have that ability. We all are different. God did not make us all the same. He did not give us all the same strengths and weaknesses. And just because you were able to thicken your skin and you were able to find a way to deal with it does not mean that everybody else can do the same thing. Those people that are not able to do that may be stronger in some areas than you are. And if you can't do what they can do, does that make you a weak human being? Of course it doesn't. So it doesn't make them a weak human being either. Or it doesn't make them a weak person altogether. They just may be weak in certain areas. It's just sickening. I cannot imagine. I mean, when I was growing up, I went to school and I got teased. My brother teased me. But I did not feel like I could never get away from, well, yeah, I did actually feel that way. And it's a horrible feeling. I've said in the past that I never considered suicide, but then I remember at one point thinking if I killed myself, that the people that were teasing me would win. So obviously, to have that thought, you had to have had the thought to kill yourself. So I guess I did. I just remember getting to the point where I didn't even want friends. I just wanted to be invisible. Just leave me alone. Don't talk to me at all. And it's not fair that people should have to live that way. Like I said in my video that I made for my friend Eric's channel, which is Evolve 180 Nation, he's a young man who's trying to do something about bullying. I don't know that bullying will ever completely go away, but what he said is true, in that basically that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. Just because it may not be totally eradicated and stomped out and everyone becomes a nice, happy, loving person, does that mean we shouldn't try? I wouldn't say that when it comes to things that I believe in strongly, as far as being anti-abortion or things like that. So, I think we all have to do our part, and we have to realize And on some of what we have to realize, I believe, is that every little thing plays a part. You know, when you pick on people, once we allow, okay, well, this little bit of teasing is okay, well, then that little bit of teasing leads to larger teasing, and it gets worse and worse. I don't know where the line is. I'm not claiming to know where the line is, but I do believe that everything you do, it stacks up on itself. Okay, green light. Sorry. Had to have a little aggression in a driving video or it just wouldn't be me. So that's all. Just try to be kind. Remember that everything you say does have an impact, whether it should be that way or it shouldn't. I do believe that the majority of the people that I communicate with on a regular basis on here, if they found out something they said had contributed to someone feeling so badly about themselves that they just wanted to die, that you would care. Well, there's something you can do about that. Are you driving down the road with your brakes on for any particular reason? Okay, I'll end it there. That's all.